Hello and welcome to the Assetto Corsa Competizione Sim Series. I am your host, Gareth Ronther, and everything should be working. It's been a long time since we've done one of these ACCSS broadcasts. Thank you very much for joining me, everybody. As I said, everything should be working. It has been a long time since we have done these, and since the last time we did one of these, I have had to totally reinstall everything on my PC because it died. So, this is entirely new setup, and I haven't done much streaming at all in that time. So, if there are problems with volumes, if things are too low, too loud, too anything, just give me a shout and I will get that sorted. Otherwise, I'll obviously check the board at the end. But this is a new season, a new year for ACCSS. We are back with our regular season. We had a few seasons off where we were doing a bit more of a casual event. And we are now back to the serious business. So we are in Monza for the first round of the ACCSS Sprint season. We are going to also have a GT season, which will be starting in a few weeks' time, I believe, at Suzuka. But this is our traditional old format. No more multiple days, no more Sunday. We are at our new time of Friday, which we will be here every week during the season with a totally new format. So we will have to get used to that. Different formats for different races. This first race will be a 1 hour sprint race with a mandatory pit stop for fuel, no tyres necessary, a very short pit window in the middle. You can see here, to make sure that my buttons are working, some of the drivers we have here, and this should also hopefully help explain the system. There are two classes of drivers in here. We are back to the old school format with pros and AMs, and we are using the new SGP ranked format. So you can see these in the middle here, these numbers. This is their rankings for the drivers. As this is our first season, and it's been based off of just whatever random stuff people have been doing on SGP, some of the numbers may be a bit muddled. I wouldn't look too deeply into any of them to try and judge the skill of the drivers. There are some very, very fast drivers who've driven a little less, and so have lower points than some slower drivers who've driven a little more. But the cutoff point, I believe, is about 5,000. You can see 6,000 strength of field, or almost 7,000 strength of field for pro, 4,000 for AM. And then there are a few drivers put in AM there who do not have a ranking, who I believe we have checked in to see, just to make sure they won't be too far into pro as we start into qualifying, so we can get out of these. They'll obviously be much more useful when we have standings to look at. So we hop into qualifying for the start of the season, and we have a Nissan. Whoa, that was the wrong one. We have a Nissan GTR on the field first. Shout out to the legend driving that. So we need to get our broadcasting HUD back up. I will have to find some way to do that a little bit more smoothly. How long is quali? That's a good question. So quali is 20 minutes, and I believe it will be 10 split between pros and the AMs. So the first 10 minutes for these red badged, I believe these are the amateur drivers. As traditional motorsports, the faster class going last. We have a good mix of cars. I've been obviously busy setting up the brand new stream setup, so haven't looked too much far into it. Hoping some of these guys didn't pick their car just for the long straights of the first track, because we have a couple of Nissans, amazingly, on the field. A Honda from Daniel Badej, a couple of Astons, your AMGs, your Porsches, the classics. Michael Smalley driving, I believe, the only Lexus in the AM field. There is a Lexus in Pro. Two Lexuses in Pro, actually. Interesting. One Lamborghini driven by Ollie Henley. No Ferraris, I'm very sad to say. But Ollie Henley standing in for the Lambos there. So let's do our traditional old school sit on board here with the first car to do a flying lap of the Temple of Speed at Monza. Down the incredibly long main straight into turn 1. Everyone terrified of this corner. Fearsome reputation for the start of races. But if everyone's sensible, then like our Wednesday race, everyone can get through deep down on the brakes into an incredibly slow chicane until you blast out into Curva Grande. Exit incredibly important there. The traction control of your car can make a big difference into how you're getting out of that corner. And down through Curva Grande. Off to one of the most dangerous corners on the track, I think, actually. This one will cause some carnage very often on lap 1. It doesn't get the reputation that T1 has, but it probably deserves it, as again, just slotting through there. Very easy to brake a little too late and go off there and get some time cuts into the two Lesmos. Deceptively hard corners because they're deceptively long, the first one at least. Second one is a little bit more simple, but you've got to push right out into the edge. Very easy to go too far and get your wheel in the grass. Down towards the back straight. Ascari, probably the most dangerous corner, the least dangerous corner for racing. There's not really much racing you can do into it, and so they don't have those big crashes there, but very dangerous on your own in a lot of cars. You need to be able to chunk some of those curbs. Oh, big slide, you can see that coming out of the corner by the Nissan as he sends it through that corner and off towards Parabolica, the last corner. This is incredibly important on your speed. It's not normally one where we see too many accidents, but it can be a racing opportunity, and you've got to get a great exit from there, get on the accelerator early so you can pound down this back straight. So as our times start coming in from our first drivers, I will check we have a question in the chat. Is there weather for the race dry or random today? Weather... rain is set very low, but there is 2 weather randomness. For those who don't understand Kuno server speak, 2 weather randomness is a decent amount of randomness, but not crazy. So by the looks of the settings... from someone who is no means an expert, I would expect it to stay dry, but there is a small chance of rain. At this low rain amount with normal randomness, I would call 2 normal randomness. Weather randomness 3 is where it can get a little bit crazy. So, we have 1:48.4 from Thorn in the Nissan GTR. That is the fastest we've watched. That was not the Nissan GTR that we were on board with. Woodley, I think, at the exit of Lesmo 2, I think, got a little bit too far and invalidated that lap. But a decent spread so far. You can see between our drivers. Here is Thorn, the leading Nissan. Also, I know a lot of the drivers in our races like to watch back the stream afterwards, just to check if they're on stream or whatever. If I have reinstalled Awesome Sim Racing, the very good livery plugin that we use, but I haven't noticed any liveries yet. If you see your car on stream and you should have a livery but you don't, then make sure to hit me up saying, yeah, my livery wasn't showing, and I will check if I have installed it properly. I literally was only reminded about Awesome Sim Racing like less than an hour ago and reinstalled it, so shout out to that. Whoops, no, I won't broadcast. So Thorn cross the line again, but not an improvement on his lap right now. He has the best sector 3. The best sector 1 was just stolen from him by the leading Audi over here, Tom Mack. But that 1:48.4 is still the benchmark. A couple more drivers coming through and putting in sort of mid-pack times. Only 4 drivers left to set a time. have a quick check of what happened here. This is Michael Turner. Looks like he had a little bit of a slip up into Ascari. Could be something boring, just going a little bit wide. But Ascari, Des and Ascari are normally interesting to watch because sometimes you hit a curb and just get launched. Oh no, just got a little bit loose there mid-corner. Shot him out wide. And then, oh, it was a different Honda. It was Simmons in the Honda who roared past. Cameras at Monza, not my favourite. Charrington, in his lovely Turner livery BMW. I'm not a super fan of the whole texturing, but the livery other than that is fantastic. He has topped himself up into second position. Thorn very slightly improving his lap time, but still his old lap time would have been a fastest time for us as well. On a little bit of traffic is Charrington, hoping that he won't get slowed down in any way. Nice and close to the barrier there. Oh, Porsche's gone in front of him, but luckily nothing for him to worry about. I think that was car number 26, so that was Attila Cody. Just getting a little too aggressive on the exit. BMW able to chunk those curves nicely. Get Charrington on a good run as Daniel Simmons takes over second position. 1:48.5 for him, fastest first sector. But the fastest second and third belongs to Thorn on this improved lap that he's managed to do. The 1:48.1 coming in from Mac there. So, oh, and then a 1:48 flat from Thorn. So for a short moment there, I believe Tom Mack was on pole, just very, very quickly. But he has now been thrown back down to second place, but good run there from the Audi. As I still count driving the Lambo as being part of Audi gang, because, you know, they're the same thing. So still shout out to my bro there in the Lambo, but Thorn is on top with the 48 flat. Only one fastest sector, but still a good running from him. And we have here, you can see the train of pro cars, probably led by Dan Terry. There we go. So my livery thing is working. You can see there the ACC Sim Series official livery on the Aston Martin of Daniel Terry. So let's check out the AMs. Every AM has set a time, as we see Scholblom setting his last time. We have 3 AMs still out on track. Badej, Gunaday, and Simmons, who's just put himself up into a very nice position there. Second place, just behind Thorn. Badej also moving himself up at the dying seconds. And there is Gunaday. Eva just started his lap before the pro cars came round, or is on an in lap. He's up on his time, so for his sake, I hope he's about to cross the line and put that time on the board. There's a bit of a gap there between 6th and 5th, so he's not looking likely to gain any huge positions, but he could place himself ahead of the birthday boy, Ed Turrell here. Oh, 0.4 as well, so he got a nice improvement there through Parabolica. That is nice. We can now go on board with Dan Terry, although Dan Terry's actually been overtaken, but we're still going to sit on board with the boss man himself for this new format, because I am on him anyway. Wide there from Daniel Terry exiting Scari. Yeah. We'll see if the lap is valid, but I doubt it after that. Pros obviously very extra important for them to set a lap because they don't want to be stuck behind any of the AN-class drivers. They'll be overtaking those for no points. That's Shane Thomas out in front. He sets a time up to 6th position. So you can see here the pros who are entering the top 10. Bart Raven there in 7th. Ollie Henley to 3rd. Rory Luge to 5th. Mark Bunyan up to 12th. And Stephen Hooter up to 18th. So a few of them putting some nice and quick times on the boards. Lee Henley so far in black and orange. Orange 1 Lamborghini is leading the pro field. I'm sure we have plenty more time in these cars to go. Ollie Henley 2 temps up already, which would put him on provisional pole. So you can see how close he got into there as well, just on his first run. Huge stuff there. Quick thank you to all the guys who are following. I do not have the follower alert set up. Unfortunately, I forgot about that. I'll probably have to talk to Dan about getting that stuff set up again for the ACCSS account. But thank you, for Solomon, Mossiv, Zillathor, and Kulen, who have all followed during the beginning of the stream or just before the stream. As I said, we will be here every Friday for our regular season, and we will be here every other Saturday soon for our GT Sprint Cup, which we should also be covering. Looking forward to both of these, and hopefully during 2023 we can get some more consistent things going. Already got a few little things we can improve about the stream here and there as we watch the pink Porsche of Mark Bunyan. He's on a big improvement so far. Ooh. A little bit of a struggle around that corner, and by a little bit I mean he's lost all of his time that he had gained. But Ollie Henley is back in the pits, and third is still the best that anyone from Pro has got. It's taken a little bit longer than I expected, honestly, with some of the pace of these guys. And as I say it, there we go. Eric Larson comes across the line to score us the new pole position time. Craig Ludgate also finally sets a time on the board, and as he sets a time, I try to click on his name and miss him. Ooh, big slide there from Bart Raven. I told you we'd see people going across the curbs at that corner. I was not lying. So not a huge amount of time being gained by some of our faster pro drivers right now. Eric Larson is going to be on pole, but other than that, people will be struggling a little bit. Quite a few of the drivers slightly lower down are on good laps, though. So in our last few laps, we could see a bunch of these AM drivers getting knocked down. Ollie Henley, I believe I've seen multiple times as well, having the pace to be on pole there, but just not managing to put the whole lap together, getting his times cancelled here and there. So we'll see what can happen. Both Rory Luge and Shane Thomas now have managed to claw back some time on their laps. This is Rory Luge we're looking at, who's coming around the last corner. Yeah, Roy Weller, absolutely right in the chat. As I said earlier, don't rely too much on the standings now. We've got sort of most of them pretty much right. But not going to be perfect for the first few seasons. So, what are these people just failing to set lap times? They're all just pushing a little bit too hard and getting their times disallowed, I believe. But basically, everyone on track right now is going to get this as their last lap. And then that will be it. Florian Sachs actually is about to cross the line for the final time there, up to 24th for him. Adam Burks also in that lovely yellow, red and black, almost an ACCSS livery there. Pops himself up to 20th. Nice work there by him. Bart Raven is going to be the next driver to cross the finish line. He's in 10th position so far, and he is up 4 tenths. So this is a big lap from Bart. This is, if he can get a good parabolica, he could be right up there at the front. It's a very tricky corner to get right, though. Good pull out there. He's up on the time. He's done it. He's going to be real close. He hasn't got pole. But there we go. Third position. Not quite ahead of all the AMs. So still we are seeing that. But Ollie Henley now is coming across to try and do a similar thing. Not an improvement for him, though. So he's going to dive for the pits. Mark Bunyan is the next car that we can see coming into view. Mark Bunyan is up just a tad, but that just a tad in the position he is could jump him quite far up to 14th for him before we look at Holder, who is up on a huge improvement. He's quite far back so far, loses a little bit of it through the last corner, but that is a big run for him. Looks like Matt F in the 800 is the next car who is actually on for any sort of improvement. The rest of the cars doing in-laps in the Singer Porsche, their lovely livery that I didn't even know existed until recently. But he does not manage to gain a position. And then there's Gustav Gorstug going into the pits. are back with the traditional ACCSS grid walk for the first time in 2023 and the first time for quite a while now. What with our casual seasons, we're going to have a look at the front 25 cars of the grid. Eric Larson is your pole sitter in the Total Lexus, followed by Thorne in his Nissan. Bart Raven, the first of the BMWs. Not a favoured car on this track, so impressive to see him so far up. Danny Simmons in the Honda. Ollie Henley in the Lamborghini. And Mac in the Audi, setting up an incredibly diverse field for us at the front. Shane Thomas then in the Liqua Molly BMW just ahead of Rory Luge, and another BMW driven by Sherrington. Woodley is in 10th position ahead of Weschelberg and Hunade. Then we have Johnny Woe, Mark Bunyan, Daniel Terry, the big boss man himself, in 15th ahead of Stephen Hooter, his work colleague there in the Mercedes AMG. Terrell Roundtree and Behan then leading up a little triplet of McLarens ahead of Adam Burks, a good 20th position for him in the BMW. Porsche side by side, Greg Ludgate and Matthew F ahead of Schlink, Coupe and Sachs, rounding out the last 25 drivers on the grid. So once again, thank you to everyone who is popped in to have a watch of our stream today, and for everyone who is following ready for the rest of this championship. This is round one at Monza, and as our cars drive off into the formation lap, we'll have some highlights from back when we used to stream more regularly for you, and hopefully I will get some more of these highlights done in the future. But again, thank you to watching, and thank you to the SGP for making such a great system for hosting these races, and hopefully such a great rank system that we are going to start using this year. My plan eventually will be to get some more highlights done and at different lengths so we can accurately fill in the formation laps of each of these different tracks, each of the different distances that we get from there. But thank you very much, everybody, for sticking around as we move in to the start of the first round of the new ACCSS season as the drivers line up. Hopefully everyone will get a nice, good start. No one slotting in too far behind anyone else. Assuming they're all legal, that looks like a good far forward start from Eric Larson. I'm slightly confused at how the order has settled in, but we are going anyway. Really bad start there from the Honda. So that's Ollie Henley and the Lamborghini diving straight past him. Also, the Audi of Mac there, who's just fully gone alongside him into the first corner. Nice and calm, gentlemen. Try and get through smoothly. A big logjam behind everyone, trying to be very nice and calm. I saw a few little bonks and scrapes going further back, and we've got a couple of cars diving across it. Look, it's actually fully parked. A couple of people very nicely there doing the slalom. Good job. A little bit of chaos, but it doesn't look like too many big crashes. It was just a few people getting awkwardly caught up there and going across the... Oh, there we go. I told you that Turn 2 was the one that deserved the fiercer reputation. That is a proper Monza Lap 1 crash. There's a couple of cars around there, including Ollie Henley. Unfortunately, not going to be able to do it for the Lamboys this time because he is on the side. And oh, good avoidance there from everyone, just making sure not to make Ollie Henley's day even worse, as there's also a Honda there getting back onto position. So as we've settled out in the timing a bit, we have Eric Larson there in the Lexus leading from Thorn. Mac, whereas he's a little bit further back in third, as that there is the gap that Ollie Henley was taken out of or spun out of. We're not sure how. A lot of cars there dead at the first Lesmo as well. Let's try and get a replay from Von Glan's position there. You can see, there was already cars crashed all over the place. That's 404, so it was that Mark Bunyan who was already around. Then Eric Glan just spins it, unfortunately, trying to go around. Oh, there's a big damage on the front of that BMW there, and on Holder's Aston Martin that we're looking at. Those are not great sights. There's been a wee tad of chaos so far in this race as we get back to live timing. Oh, we're going to go out of live timing as well because there is a seriously crabbing car there coming through Ascari. And what happens to him? There's already chaos up in front of him. Tries to dodge and looks like, just gets clipped by the Lexus that's coming across the track. Battered then by the BMW from behind him. And that is a seriously crabbing Aston Martin that we can see there, just limping along the grass. Rightly looks like he stopped and went back to garage because that one was not going to go well for him. As Daniel Terry, 275 kilometers per hour, takes the fastest time so far, or fastest speed so far on the straight line. Yes, so as Roy is saying in chat, long time for the pit window open, so any of that damage, you're not going to be able to limp around to the pit window. You might as well just get in there and repair it if you have a considerable amount, because you're going to be holding that damage for a long time. If not, we do have our regular live stewarding today, and after those 2 laps we're already on 20 incident reports, although a lot of those will be duplicates and will be slight contact, people spinning. There'll be a lot of taps in turn 1 from how we saw everyone caught up together there, so not too much to worry about on most of those, as we see the Woodley Nissan looking for a move. So just to quickly look through everything we've got so far, lots of position changes. There are some big losers. Shane Thomas, Bart Raven, Mark Bunyan all down around 30 positions, 35 for Bart Raven. Ollie Henley in 28th now has lost 23 positions. Some of the big gainers down here, as we see a little bit of chaos, as I believe that's one of the damaged backmarker Aston Martins there, coming back onto the track. Daniel Perry side by side, backmarker there, just trying to stay out of the way of everybody. And it looks like he's done a pretty good job of doing so. We've got Ed Terrell around. Oh no. A little bit of chaos there. Let's have a quick check of what happened. So going for the move there on his fellow McLaren, and he's just put it in a bit too far. Too deep into the corner. The other McLaren did not know there was going to be a car on his inside suddenly. Oh, and then that awkward little pop there with the Porsche. So yeah, the biggest winners so far are these cars here. The BMW of von Scherven, we've just seen, I believe, passing a back marker there, and that Porsche in front of him, that is driven by Attila Cody. They're up 15 and 16 places respectively. Other stuff that to quickly go over. Here is Michael Small. Michael Small with 20 seconds of penalties already. These are actually from qualifying. Both of these were for instance in qualifying. He tried to overtake a slower driver in qualifying and gave him a little bit of a punt. And then he had another incident, which I can't remember what it is now, because there's been a lot of chaos early on in this race with Eric Larson leading. There was a few things in chat I did want to address, but obviously so much happened at the beginning it was a bit hard. Smurfy Lord asks, is the Friday race the rookie split and Sunday the pro, or not anymore? Because I wouldn't call Ollie Henley a rookie. Absolutely, there is no longer separate rookie and pro splits. Rookie and pro are both driving in this. This is just the sprint season, and everyone is driving in here. A lot of unsafe rejoins, absolutely. See some penalties coming out for that, I'm sure. And then about half the grid have damage. Probably more than that, yes. Danny Simmons now with the fastest time in the straight in the Honda. As we go back to this pack, this is a pack that I definitely wanted to get back to, because this is a nice, interesting fight here up the front between a lot of good drivers. Show the pile-up with Henley again. I might be able to, if I use the magical ACC race control that our friend Leonard Schungel has made. What number is Henley? I wanted to give this a try, so we're going to do a little bit of experimenting here as we see, I think that's Weschelberg and Simmons side by side. So Simmons going for the move on Weschelberg. Looks like he's pretty much made it before the corner, so he doesn't have to worry too much. We're going to try this. Is it this one? His 3:43 and 51. Oh, we went on the right car. There we go. So there's Henley. Oh, I think that's Bart Raven, who looks like he just got up the inside of the Lamborghini and turned him around there. That is an unfortunate one. And then so many cars behind you at that point that it's just always going to be quite chaotic. We have a question in chat there as we see Dan Terry making a move on the grass, pass on the grass. Dale Earnhardt Jr., eat your heart out. Oh, misses the corner. Oh, that was almost so manly, and then just threw it away at the last moment. Nice and correct slalom. Not trying not to gain any time at all there. And he slots back into this big old battle that we have. I'm considering the amount of chaos we had, I'm pretty happy with the amount of cars still racing nice and close on the track here. Yeah, we had a question in the chat about how much stewards are checking this. There's a couple of them in there. There's a couple of them in there today. They will definitely have a lot to go through. But if they don't get everything sorted before the end of the race, we're not going to worry too much. They can. We'll finish it with post-race stewarding if we need to. Oh, big snap there from, I think that was Stephen Hooter in the blue and white Mercedes. Loses himself a position there on the exit of the second Lesmo to Johnny Woo. start to settle out. The stewards are still looking at lap 1. They will be looking at lap 1 for quite a while. But I can confirm, looking at the sheets now, that a lot of lap 1 is just contact due to cars bunching up, racing incidents. Nothing being said about that. So as we see Johnny Woo now taking a go at Reschelberg, who's been falling back a little bit. We have an interesting... he's just behind these guys, actually. Nice little train here. Look at this. So here's Ollie Henley at the back of this train, trying to make it back up. A couple of AMs in front of him that he has to get past. Smalley at the beginning of this. Double dive there, going at the same time, and Ollie's going to try and follow the Mercedes ahead of him through as well. Really damaged car there from Smalley. It looks like he's going slow. Is he going to give up and go into the pits? He is. So Ollie Henley got 2 places out of that and is now launching himself down behind this Mercedes into turn 1. Easy work there for the Lamborghini driver. He can start pulling himself back up the order. He's broken the 20 loss barrier. He's now only 19 down. I'm sure we will catch up again with Ollie later in this race, as we have Adam Burks there putting himself on the inside, not able to make the move. He's going to lose a little bit of time from doing that, give Stephen Hooter some slight breathing room, and perhaps put this Aston Martin on his back, although that is a back marker. So wouldn't expect the back marker to make any sort of risky moves into Ascari. Very glad to get to this point and have not commentated cursed the absolute ever-loving hell out of that right there. Looks like Weschelberg a little bit on the grass there. He's being pretty heavily pressured here by Johnny Woo. Nice amount of gain there. If he could just get the acceleration out a little bit on the curb, I think scared him a little bit there. Felt the car going a bit loose and didn't quite get as good of a run out as he could, but he's now fully in the slipstream going down the main straight. It's quite far back to go to the dive from, and he's not going to, just smartly settling for this position for now. Going to have a lot of shots of different drivers diving into this corner, because obviously it is the place to make up the most. To go back to the front of our race and just check in, Eric Larson is still leading. He's leading now by almost 4 seconds from our Nissan friend, who himself is almost 4 seconds ahead of the BMW in third, with the superior livery there, Joseph Charrington. Tom Mack putting in a good work for Audi, up in the top 5 before Hyundai takes the second BMW in there. So when Shane complains about how bad the BMW is here, we can just remind him 2 in the top 5 there. Although there has been a lot of chaos at the start of this race. The furthest up battle is this one. You can see quite a damaged Rory Loge there, with Simmons and Woodley chasing him down. Simmons and Woodley in cars that cannot complain that they are badly bopped at this racetrack. Obviously incredibly powerful in the straight line. Dan Terry there before we get back to this group who were battling so well in the early parts of the races. Ooh, Roundtree has just been taken by Henley as well. So Henley continuing to absolutely claw his way up the field. And then we have had 9 different cars have been into the pits, all with a good chunk of basically 40 minutes or more in the pits. So these have been all of our drivers repairing damage back there. Everyone from Vorsa down in this stand, as you can see here. These are all the drivers who are pit here at the back already, but as you can see there, orange number 1 is still there because the pit window has not yet opened. The pit window, for those who do not know, in our new season is going to be the middle 10 minutes of the race, which means they will open when the clock strikes 35 and they will close at 25 minutes remaining, as we watch Danny Simmons chasing down Rory Luge. there by Danny Simmons on the damaged Rory Luge, who has been dropping down some considerable places. Pretty slow laps for someone as far as up as he is, but not incredibly yet. We'll see at the end of this lap. We may get a view of a little bit of time lost this time. He's still holding on in there, even with that damage, but yeah, it's hurting him. It's hurting him a little bit. Oh, who to that? Side by side with Johnny Woo into the braking zone for turn 1. Gets it nice and stopped on the apex. And now Adam Burks, who was chasing down Stephen quite well, is going to be on the back of these guys going through Curva Grande. You can see Matt F and Ludgate still with each other. Those two started next to each other on the grid in their Porsches and still racing there. Matt F putting his nose in, but not looking for it. Smart driving there. W struggling a little bit there out of the second Lesmo. Every time I go to say the name of those corners, I have to remind myself whether it's Lesmo or Degner, which is which. But the real pain point for the BMW around here is these points right here. You can see that even in the slipstream, he's not really gaining anything. I mean, he had a worse exit, so he's losing some. But oh, that's a big slide there from the McLaren that puts him on the outside of the corner. Now we're going to get to see a real straight line comparison because there's no slipstream involved in this one. They'll be getting a tiny bit there from that Mercedes, but they are side by side. The McLaren does have a little bit of front nose damage, but is keeping it tight. Adam obviously has the better part of the track here, being on the inside. Porsche's very close to the back of this fight now as well. So that is going to put Johnny Woo in danger. Greg Ludgate and Matt F right on his back. Staying out nice and wide there so that the Porsches couldn't get a better run through and put their nose in. Oh, hold on, I need to check what happened there. This might just be him going off, I think. Oh, no, there we go. Oh, just keeping out of the wall there is Cherrington, who loses the place to Tom Mack. And now he is down into 4th position. So even though the gaps are increasing at the front of our grid, it's still very easy to lose a position if you make a mistake like that, even one that doesn't put you straight into the wall. So there's a nice little slot there, still going well. We have Florian Sachs in the pits there. He's 180, yeah, so I think I noticed him on the map earlier on having a spin, but I do not see him listed here as an incident, which means that he just lost it on his own coming out of Ascari and put it into the wall, unfortunately there, but it does look like he's coming back out onto the track now, so good work by him. There's defensive work there, I believe, from Ludgate, putting himself on the inside, keeps himself there, and that is going to be great news to see in the mirror from Johnny Woo. His Porsche's racing behind him and just giving him a little bit of breathing room. Oh, my entire timing tower just lighted up green, so someone has disconnected from the server and just lost a bunch of positions. Unfortunate for them. And we are starting to receive penalties. The first penalty there going out to Eckhart von Glan for actually the incident I believe we saw. Oh no, this is in turn 1. He was not being careful enough, accelerated into some cars who were basically stopped. Bart Raven, 5 seconds for the spin, which took Ollie Henley out. That I am up with that. That caused a big incident, but it was not a big mistake. So interesting, there's Alexis there. So that's Gorgstig there, who's just got a bit wide coming out of Ascari. He's off the line. Brakes going into the corner and just loses himself. Oh no! That's so unlucky. He was just losing it on his own. Snapped the other way and caught the Porsche at Mercedes there. Was very lucky to get out of that alive. But then, what else penalties do we see? We see 10 seconds on car 30. Car 30 and car 56 apparently are both getting 10 seconds, I believe, for... Oh no, so Shane was rejoining the track at the same time as another car from the other side, and they came into contact with each other. You see Woodley and Rouge now. Oh, so Rouge has just been constantly, slowly falling back. This is a very awkward battle here. I'm going to have to ignore the penalties for a little bit. Daniel Terry just getting tapped in the booty there by Weschelberg, who couldn't quite get his car slowed down in time, but they survived that little NASCAR moment there. 4 of them in a little pack. What else have we got? 810. Who is 810? So that's Schlink. You can see him in 20th position there. Another bad rejoin, as you were saying in chat earlier. Quite a few bad rejoins, and a few of those are getting punished. More to come from our stewards, as they are still looking at lap 1. As we said, we are not too worried if everything doesn't get done. We can always do some post-race stewarding. Ooh, snap there from the 5 car. That is Rory Luge not having a great time coming out of Ascari. Really difficult corner for those cars like the Porsche and like the Ferrari that do not like the curves, and it's free wide there. Daniel Terry looking, but there's nowhere to go. That was backmark Alexis, I believe. I assume that's Smalley. So that is unfortunate times there, but very close into this run to the first corner. Dan Terry there, not caring about any of these slipstream games. He's trying to stay on the inside, but unfortunately for him, the Nissan is defending to the inside. So the Porsche is the only one taking the actual racing line there. Oh, a little bit of tap in the booty by Daniel Terry onto the car. Normally wouldn't have been too much of an incident, but the Porsche was on the other side of the track, so there was nowhere for the Nissan to get pushed to. They come back in about where they were set up, but Rory Luge has lost a lot of momentum. And now Weschelberg comes back onto the end of here. Let's have another hop into the replay, because while that was happening, just slightly behind that pack, we see another incident coming. Is this just going to be too late from the McLaren? No, he's fine. Oh, very slow Lexus there. Oh, so it looks like Adam slowed up because of the 2 cars in front of him, which looked like a Lexus, and Stephen Hooter going wide, perhaps to avoid the Lexus. And Adam slowed up the McLaren behind him, which I believe was Johnny Woo. Look, it was a black McLaren, so I think, so I believe it was Johnny Woo. Apologies if I got that wrong. Yeah, he didn't slot. Andrew Hassan in chat. Very unfortunate to see you, DC, buddy. It's good to see you back in the series. You must have been the person I noticed light up the timing towers green for everyone gaining that position. I do not believe you hit anyone. I didn't see any yellow flags at that time, so I think you are good, my friend. What else do we have? So Rory Luge and Weschelberg still battling. Like Weschelberg has made a mistake there because he's very slow. Oh. Our Moobot is still set up for the Jimmy Broadbent 23-hour stream. Oh, 404. That's a back mark, right? That's Mark Bunyan. Yeah, so that was probably not a hopefully not a mistake. That was just him letting people by. This is the part where the way the standings are become a little bit tricky to deal with. Actually, Leonard's tool can really set this up for me a little bit. I'm going to try out some of the new stuff with Leonard's tool. There we can see... Oh, this is not good. So here we are with Larson, who, just loses it in the middle of the corner, takes to the grass to try and make it. He thinks there's a better chance there than staying on the road, and just gives himself a half spin. So that loses him the position to Thorn, I believe. Thorn, as he crosses the line, we should see him reset here up to the top. So we have an AM driver and a Nissan leading this race right now, as the pit window has just opened, and we can see already a bunch of drivers jumping into the pit, and I'm sure we will see more. Let's jump on board of these lot and see if any of them run into the pits, because I wouldn't be surprised if a few do. You can see there Bart Raven in the background going, but these three do not. Also Mark Bunyan, Dan Terry, Rory Lauge, all diving into the pits. So this is going to start to get a little bit crazy, because we are going to have a lot of people just off strategy for a short amount of time. However, one of the good parts of this format from a broadcast perspective is that we do get a little bit less time where people are off strategy and just setting lap times apart from each other. It's a bit more of a stress for some of the drivers, I would assume. But for us, it can give us a nice little bit of respite. As you see, an absolute ton of drivers in the pits. Some of these guys are going to start coming out as we're getting some of this train passing. I wouldn't be surprised. So Charrington here in 4th position still. Keeping decently up with Tom Mack. But if we sit on board with this car, we'll see there's a car going into the pits there. There's a couple of cars leaving the pits. And actually, let's jump to Tom Mack, maybe. Here we go. This was what I was looking for. This is the chaos here. These are all the drivers who've just come out of the pits. And Larson right amongst them. Going to be blue flagged just for a little bit before the leaders hop into their pits themselves. There we go. This is the beautiful chaos here. There's Hutter going into turn 1 with 2 back markers on his insides. Nice work there. Very decisive by Ludgate. Puts himself right on the inside of that. Gorgstig losing a bit there. I believe lost a position to Vorsa. Is that Vorsa just ahead of him in that McLaren? Is that back marker? No, that is Roundtree. So not a position there, luckily for him. But them just letting Matt F by, who wasn't quite able to push through those who have just pit in the same way as Greg Ludgate could. It's a good run of it there as soon as the McLaren makes a mistake. And then got a little side-by-side here between Mercedes Vorsa and Taylor Cody. Couple of cars coming out of the pits here. These two, that's actually a BMW ahead of him, so that is Bart Raven. This is for position, those two. So close little battle out of the pits. We are only halfway through the pit window, but you can see a ton of our drivers have pit as we get a little short moment of free wide there on the pit straight with Larson lapping Bunyan. He just absolutely plows through the corner there as well. That is going to be one of those track cut tokens used up. So you can see here the top 13 cars are still yet to pit, but we are, due to that, we are incredibly mixed up right now. And once some of these guys, more of these guys pit and we start to settle out, we can check what people were doing in the pit stops, because that's going to be interesting. This is the first race of our new format. And in the old format, we had mandatory tyre changes. So you would refill as much fuel as possible in the stop to take you to the end, because that didn't add any time. So you would run just as much as you need to get you to where you want to go to pit, and then you would pit and take your way to the end. But with this fuel, there will be some people, depending on the car, depending on their driving style, depending on their confidence, who will be taking tyres still, I assume. And different people do different amounts of fuel. We believe the best strategy is going to be to do what we always used to call the RTI strategy. You take as much fuel as you need for the race, and you just pit for 1 litre to get through the required amount. And then, yeah, but some people will want to take less fuel for the starting stint, so we'll see how that goes. Oh, there we go, a bit too much curb there in the middle of the track. And then his car's just not settled down for the last curb into the wall. Doesn't look like a huge shunt, and it doesn't look like he has too much damage, so he hasn't been horribly netcoded there, but that is an awkward situation to get away from. And you can now see him sitting in the middle of this chaos. Couple more cars going. We see a drive-through as well. That has not been given out by our stewards, so that is for track limits. Although a few more turn 1 penalties have been given out. Shout out to our stewards as they are about to finish the last of the turn 1 incidents on our reporting sheet. Good job to them, as we only now have 5 drivers left to pit. Eric Larson, who was our pole sitter, holds the fastest lap and was in the lead before that little spin out of Ascari. Also holds the best time in the speed trap. He's an interesting benchmark to set. He was stationary for 8 seconds during his pit stop. Cherrington, who you can see just behind him, is also pit. He was 7. Woodley and Dan Terry, 5 seconds stationary. Stephen Hooter, 5 seconds stationary. Henley and Terrell, also 7 seconds stationary. So these are the people who were taking absolute minimal fuel. It looks like 5 seconds is about as fast as you can do it. So that is what people will be aiming for. We don't know if they took a couple litres to slow them down, or if they just didn't have quite as efficient a pit stop, but either way, I think that was a mistake if you needed those few more litres, because that has slowed you down there. Thorne, great example as well, 5 seconds time stopped. So as he leaves pit out here, his total pit stop time is 38 seconds, which is the fastest we've seen of anyone, tied with Woodley there. So that is a very efficient pit stop. He has gained 3 seconds there on his rival Larson in the pits. You can see Larson there just coming through the corner behind him, having to get around some back markers as well. So that's a really nice stop from there. And all of the front drivers, now that we have seen them all having finished at least the stationary part of their pit stop, going for this 1 litre of fuel strategy. Couple more litres. The furthest forward driver to have done more is Hyundai in 10th, who looks like he did a decent little bit of fueling. 13 seconds stationary there. Weschelberg Matt F, Rory Luge, a couple of these guys also doing that. Or just having awful pit stops, one or the other. But I think with that much time, it's probably fuel. 36 second stationary here for Coop. So Coop is going to be on brand new fresh tyres. Oh no, he hasn't pit yet, so that was for damage. 29 seconds for Cody. I don't know how you do that. He's either got very lucky with his tyre change there, or has had a really bad pit stop without tyres. So, but down here in the bottom of the top 20 is where we see our first drivers who stopped. Monza, not a hard circuit on tyres, so we weren't expecting to see too many people have stopped for... Oh, too many people stopped for tyres. So very interesting here. Rory Luge falling back towards Matt F. Greg Ludgate during the pits has got a big jump on his rival Matt F there. We saw that he was more decisive in the back markers, but he also had an 8-second faster pit stop, so that will have helped him out greatly as well. Rory Luge continuing to slowly fall down places. He had not too long a pit stop, so it doesn't look like he will have fixed too much damage. Just ahead of him, you can see Ollie Henley, and he is now up into 12th position after that early shunt with a nice short pit stop. Just taking the minimal amount of fuel, he is now launching himself up this this grid. Huge work from him. In 12th already. And Terry fighting with Woodley now. Woodley and Dan Terry both gaining decently in this race, so I don't want to throw any of that away. Keeping it nice and sensible. I believe there was a yellow flag here. There we go. Another one out of Ascari. Another one out of Ascari. Ascari, as I said, the most dangerous corner on this track for incidents just involving yourself. So this is looking like probably our most interesting scrap for a while now. We've got the 8th, 7th and 6th positions here. BMW, Nissan and Aston Martin. Once again, I want to mention the great diversity of cars we have this season. Very happy about that. Nissan there, that is something I recognise from the times when I drove the Nissan. Incredibly scary following someone in the Nissan because your brakes are not good, and so you feel like you need to be braking earlier than everyone, and you still get to the corner almost after them. Ooh, I don't know if that was a little bit of lag there, or if the GTR felt like it had to lift for some reason, but that was a little bit scary from Hyundai's perspective. Fastest lap so far, 48.8 coming from Larson. Thorne also in the 48s. Ollie Henley, the third driver I can see in the 48s, and outside the or inside the top 25. No one else on the 48s but for those three drivers. Fortunate news there for Ollie that he got knocked out of contention, or he could have been in here looking at his pace. But doing it for the Lamb boys. He's almost back up into the top 10. Hit that camera down the back straight, but I honestly, both TV1 and TV2 is pretty much the same there, and it annoys me so much. I just want to see a different camera there, please. So either way, this battle settled out a little bit, but still nice and close. Always scary to see how close the Nissan gets there. It's amazing as well, the Nissan gets so close to the Aston on entry, and then is so messy through the corner that the BMW catches immediately up. I refuse, Raggy. I will complain about cameras until we see a BMW almost spinning there. Keeps it out of the wall. Great work there from Hyundai. Although that will pull him right off the back of the Nissan. Also had Johnny Woo making up a position as well, further back in the order. And Adam Burks getting past B, and unfortunately not a points-paying position there. But that means he's still up in a decent place for him. Should consider that as well, actually. Larson, even though he has lost P1 and he will feel very sad about that, he is still in first position for the Pro Split. Very well asks, did I forget to download the liveries? I did not. As I said at the beginning of the stream, I was reminded just before the stream went live, and I can confirm they're working because of this boy. I have at least one custom livery that I can recognise, so I would assume that if there is a livery you're expecting to see, that they did not submit their DDS file or whatever it's called, because I am keeping that turned off, because that slows down the replays. You get a big lag if you jump into the replay. So if I want to be able to do this and go, this is how Ollie Henry died at the beginning of the race, people are going to need to submit their DDS files. So that is a nice reminder for people to submit them. Yeah, I know what you mean, Roy. There are a few carbon cars floating around. I assume that is the issue. So if you are one of those drivers who is looking at the stream after the race to see themselves and go, oh no, where's my livery? Look, I'm just a carbon black BMW in the background there. Make sure to resubmit, re-upload your files to Awesome Sim Racing and make sure the DDS is in there. I believe the DDS is not in there when you make the livery and immediately submit it without having driven it first. I think you need to drive the car in ACC for ACC to create the DDS. I think it's called a DDS. It might not be a DDS, and I might be confusing people, but if you look at your Awesome Sim Racing app, you will see the little note there. It also could be just that some of these guys don't know that we're using Awesome Sim Racing, in which case they should go to the livery upload channel in our Discord to find out how to upload their livery so that it will be viewed on stream. I believe this one Adam's running is a custom as well. Yeah, I love to see a lot of liveries, a lot of colour on the track. The more the better, until it starts making my game lag, and then please stop uploading liveries. But for now, the more the better, right? Would love to see some more liveries, so if you're just running a custom and are not using awesome liveries, then get on there for sure. Adam was a little bit behind Hooter and has managed to catch up pretty well there. They're doing reasonably close lap times here. Be interesting to see if Adam can make a move. Not as decisive a driver as someone like our good friend Greg Ludgate, but if he sees a mistake from Stephen, he will send it. Oh, speaking of which, Bad exit there from the Mercedes. Puts the Bimmer into the inside. A nice clean move into the first of the Lesmos. Leaves room as well on the outside. A lot of room left there, and he can just clip the apex nicely and should be able to get a better run down to Ascari. The McLaren there is that being it is trying to follow him through. Doesn't manage to get it, has to back out of there. But that's a good move from Adam. And now we'll see if being caught up due to the Mercedes being slowed down, or if he has the pace as well. A little bit cautious there through Ascari, but I wouldn't expect the McLaren to be the most safe car through there, shall we say. Aston Martin ahead of them as well. Who is that? That is Mark Turner down in 26th position. Looks like we have a bit of a train out here as well. A few people from different positions. Shane Thomas here, who early was knocked out of a decently high position. That is Tom Mack behind him in 4th position, and Danny Simmons still just keeping a close distance to that. This is one of those late race situations that I love here. This is the beauty of endurance racing in a sprint race because of all the chaos that we've had. Shane Thomas here lapping Gorgdig, who is just behind Elberg, who's ahead of Shane now. And then Smith. Those guys are all racing for position, but Shane Thomas on a different lap to all of them. And then in front of them, Cherrington, and behind them, Mack and Simmons on another different lap to all of them as well. So 3 different laps of cars here within this small period. As these two are for position, I believe. That's Smith and Elberg, 35th and 36th, going side by side down to turn 1. You saw that the Porsche was ahead there for a little bit, but the brunt of the Mercedes is just too much to handle. Ooh, and Elberg just turns the Mercedes round in the corner. That gets in the way of Shane Thomas as well, who gets rejoined onto the edge there. Tom Mack also managed to escape that. Danny Simmons coming up now to the back of Shane Thomas. Tom Mack there, very lucky, manages to pass both of those guys with minimal time loss around the outside before De La Roja. Behind we have Elberg giving up the position again to the Mercedes ahead of him, who just skips across the curbing there a little bit. Here we go. Let's, you know, oh, a bit of a mistake there from Tom Mack has actually put Shane Thomas alongside him, and this is one of the awkward situations that can happen later into a race. Normally with slightly longer races, you get a situation like this where Mack is now behind Shane Thomas, and Shane Thomas is not going to be much lower than him. Even though this is a lapped driver, he is lapped due to incidents, not due to pace. We are on board with the Honda of Danny Simmons, who can now see his rival right ahead of him after that mistake he made. So this is a straight out battle for 4th position here between Simmons and Mack. Mack there, just defensive driving, putting his car right in the middle, not quite enough space for Simmons to take the racing line, but also forcing him to go a long way around if he wants to go the inside. Audi here, nice and agile through some of those corners, and the BMW in front chunking the curbs, and this should be An area where the Honda has a little bit more trouble, but as he gets into these nice simple corners, the power out into these long straights, he's going to be really happy. Hey, Falling Light, thank you for subscribing. Once again, I will try and get the actual alert set up soon, but good to see you all. DT P6 on pace. DT is actually P2 in class, to point out. But yeah, there has been a few incidents. Ollie Henley probably should be up ahead of him. Similarly, Shane Thomas, a couple of those others who are very fast boys. But Dan Terry's best is a 49.5, which is very much on pace with a lot of the guys around him. He had a good pit stop. He's doing the right strategy. Oh, we've had another bit of an incident there. Two BMWs side by side. Looks like Schlink and von Schwen. Oh, it was a different BMW that he got into, I think. Just a bit too aggressive on the exit. Looks like he let the other car. Yeah, that was Schlink he got in with. He let that car past, so very nice of him there. Stewards will not always take too kindly to that, because it can be dangerous slowing down so much to let a car past, but it is very, very gentlemanly. I believe that's a custom livery as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know the BMW very well. I believe this is another custom livery, so someone else making use of awesome sim racing. Rory is in the pits. I don't know why he is in the pits. He's in the pits. He's been stationary for a reasonable amount of time. So perhaps he managed to get himself damage again and has had a bent steering wheel or such. So very unfortunate there for Rory. Danny Simmons and T-Mac still nice and close together. The fight at the front. Oh! Oh, what was that? Holy moly! We have Danny Simmons here. Oh, I feel like he just forgot his braking point there. Lost concentration for a second by the looks of it. That is absolutely not something we expect to see. Strike. I need that old bowling sound effects video I made. Yeah, it looks to me a lot like he just absolutely was not paying attention until the Audi ahead of him braked. He suddenly needs to brake, swerves to the right to try and avoid hitting the Audi, and just immediately loses grip and gets launched into the wall there. There we go. It was taking a while for me to get out of the replay there. That's what happens if you do a few replays in a row. But yeah, that was not what I was expecting. Yeah, absolutely poor BMW. Who was that? That was Shane Thomas as well, who was already having a bit of a bad race. Been taken out early and put far down the pack. He's P30. Maybe let's go and have a look at what happened to him early on. This the one where he got wrecked? There, yeah, there he is. He has to go out and around there to try and get back on. Oh no! Oh, I'm sorry, Shane. That looks like your fault there. I think Shane did get a penalty for that. Actually, now that I'm thinking of it, for coming across the other driver there. Unfortunate. So yeah, we haven't I was going to say we haven't seen a Honda torpedo like that since Danny Kvyat was in the car. I think they were running Hondas when Kvyat was in the car. I might have been a bit early for that. I can't remember, but I wanted to make the Kvyat reference, so I'll put it out there even if it's wrong. But this does put your boy Henley up into 9th there. He had managed to put himself past Weschelberg into 10th. He is now pushing on to Ludgate. And he is actually now our furthest up position being fought for. It's Ollie Henley going for P8 on the ever decisive Greg Ludgate. We have 2 positions, it looks like, going on here. I'm not sure what that second one is. That is 24th and 25th between Holder and Raven. Raven there, almost getting the double move, it looks like there, because Huta was put off of line, and he's going to lose to another back marker there as well. This is where these things get complicated, because that back marker is not going to want to give up his challenge of the BMW in front of him for the car behind, which they are not racing. But Stephen's going to want to get back onto the back of Bian, up just ahead of him. Get the epic sound of the BMW engine for a little bit. No, the Mercedes even. My bad. You see the Michelin man out there on the front. Under 4 minutes left. That means it's going to be 2 or 3 laps, depending on exactly where the leader is right now. Not long left either for Ollie Henley to make this move. Although Daniel Terry has received a 5-second penalty. It's going to be for that incident at turn 1 that we watched earlier. So that means Henley... he already is going to have that position. So if he can take Ludgate, that will actually put him up into 7th. This is a big move there. Larson has 5 seconds as well. What does Larson have 5 seconds for? There we go. Nice move there by Ollie Henley. Incredibly clean. So he has that for pushing car 3 offline. So basically bullying a back marker is what Larson got that penalty for. Basically bullying a back marker. So nice work by Henley. Started, I think P3. I think he started. Does it show me where on the grid he started? I'm not sure. Anyway, point is, yes, he was 5th on the grid. 5th on the grid. Got knocked right down to the back. Lost over 20 positions after that incident that we saw near the start. And then... has clawed his way back up to, right now I'm being told 3 positions lower, but actually he's going to get that position from Dan Perry due to the penalty. So he's only lost 2 positions this race from that huge, monumental crash early on. So great job there from him. Rory, unfortunately, though, has not had a great race. Early on was pretty high positioned, but has been just constantly, slowly falling down the order. There he is, just on our timing screens, dropping behind Schlink. Oh, Schlink, who does a big slide. Looks like he's kept it there, but has lost the momentum. So Rory is going to get this one back, and there's not long left in the race for Schlink to try and retake that position.
Leader's on final lap now.
Leader has just started the final lap. So Rory and Schlink here is going to be one of the first battles to cross the line. Do you know what I should actually do? So, ooh, going for it, but Schlink does not quite get it there. Nice work by both of the drivers to come through safely. We also have coming up here a back marker. This is match Shablom, I believe is correctly saying his name. I apologise, Mats, if I'm getting that wrong. Very battered McLaren there, so everyone just gets nice and safely by him. Oh, the Dedge there, a little bit slow. Let's have a quick check back in the replay of exactly what happened to him there. He has the BMW there going around his outside. Ooh, couldn't really see from that angle whose that was, but no one hit anything too much, so not too much of a harm there, as we now have Thorn coming around to win the first ever 2023 ACCSS Sprint Series Championship. There's your winner, Thorn. Then the first fight coming towards the line. Jawbomb actually just behind Cal Mason there. Cal Mason, that was 4th position, getting ahead of him, with Cherrington coming across as well. To keep up with all the battles that are finishing as they come across the line. Ollie Henley there. Is he actually getting another position? No, he's just taking a back marker. Okay. Nice work there by everyone as we come across the finishing line. It's a decent track for the GTR, honestly. Not too bad. As Woo and Cody here will be our last battle on track. Oh, Woo! They're not quite making it there. Still just a couple more incidents to be investigated after the race, but shout outs to our stewards. Actually, that's an incident from after the race. So literally the last incident being looked at now, already been given a racing incident. So a huge shout to all of these guys. Thank you for pointing out Roy there. Elberg has run out of fuel. And Car 180 is being a hero and pushing him across the line. That's the start line, so he still needs to go further. Oh, is it not? That is actually the finish line. I got it the wrong way around. Good job there. Good work. And shout out to, obviously, Thorn, who is your winner now. Once again, we will wait. Actually, I'm going to turn these off. We will wait for the server to switch over so that the standings will update properly with all of the penalties and such. Yes, Thorben and Alice were our stewards for today. Huge shout out to both of them for managing to get all of the incidents for that crazy race in. And there we go. The timetables, the overall timetables. Thorn winning. Let's try and do a top 10, but it's going to be hard because they're so messed up. Top 10 for Am. Thorn winning the overall race. Cherrington 2nd. Mac 3rd. Woodley 4th. 5th. Hyundai 6th. Bean 7th and 8th. Cody and Turrell. So we need 3 more. That's Von Sheven. Turner and Cal Mason coming in 10th position. Shout outs to them. Eric Larson. Ollie Henley, amazingly, up in 6th. Managed to get 2nd place in class after that awful start for him. Ludgate, the third person on the podium in Pro. Then we have Daniel Terry, Weschelberg, Matt F, Adam Burks, Stephen Hooter, Johnny Woo, and Rory manages to just stay in the top 10 for these races. So we'll have a quick look, because I actually am not 100% sure on this either, so let's go and check for ourselves. Here is the scoring for the ACC Sim Series Sprint. So lots of points. I think everyone pretty much down to 20th is going to be scoring. Very interesting points that DT has come up with. You don't get a huge amount for winning, not as top heavy as some of your common Formula 1 or so points. So interesting difference there. So we'll see the standings after a while when those set up. So that has been our first round at Monza. Thank you everybody for turning up and chilling out with us. It's been great to be back on the stream. Thank you following like, for resubscribing. Huge shouts. Scutters, Basilamon, Mossiv, Zillathor, Coolend, all following today. As I've said, we will be back.
Green light. Go, go, go.
We will be back next Friday. The GT series isn't starting yet, but we will work out Saturday streams for them as well. I believe in chat I saw that Paul Glover said he wanted to do those. So that will be good. We'll make sure he's set up and going there. We've got a few weeks before we do that. As always, shout out to all the admins for organising, Alice and Thorben for stewarding, and for you guys for coming to watch. I will see you again next week for round 2. Round 2 will be 2 30-minute races. 2 30-minute races at, I believe, Brands Hatch. But either way, that is the end of our stream. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.